Around the world, people keep asking one question. Do we have free will? Well, depending on who you ask or what religion you ask, they answer differently. So why don't we talk about it? In today's video, do we have free will? Christians agree that we're responsible for our actions, but they differ on how God's choice and our choice fit together. Catholic and Orthodoxy teach synergy. Humans and God work together. Grace helps, but we still choose. Thomas Aquinas said grace doesn't destroy freedom, it just perfects it. Protestant reformers like Martin Luther argued our will is bound by sin until God frees it. John Calvin, the founder of the Calvinists, taught that even our good choices fold under God's providence, called predestination. So what we're going to do, whether good or bad, was already decided before we even thought about it. Methodists and modern Protestants followed John Wesley, who said God gives everyone prevenient grace, restoring the ability to respond freely. Every church responds to the question differently, but it's a lot more complicated than these brief answers. Hopefully, in a later video, we can delve into this question even deeper and look at more groups within the Christian faith to discover if we have free will within Christianity. Does Islam say you have free will? Well, let's see. The Quran says there is no compulsion in religion. It also says whoever wills, let him believe, whoever wills, let him disbelieve. Yet also, you do not will except that Allah wills. Muslims believe that both are true. Allah's will rules the universe, but yet we're answerable to our choices. So let's look at the different groups within Islam and how they respond to the question of free will. The Sunni Ash'ari philosophy says that we have qasb, that God creates every act, but we acquire it through our actions and our intention. Imam al-Ghazali, one of the most famous scholars in the Ash'ari school, says that God creates our power and our choice at the same time. In the Sunni Maturidi school, thinkers give humans a little bit more independence. God knows and sustains everything, but we freely choose within His plan. In Shia Islam, it calls it a matter between two matters, neither total compulsion nor total freedom, but something in between. Each school answers a little bit differently, but in the Quran it says everything happens by God's will, yet every soul is responsible for what it earns. So no matter if something is happening because God chose it, our intentions and our actions get what they deserve. How does Judaism answer, do we have free will? Well, in Deuteronomy 30:19, it says, I have set before you life and death, choose life. The rabbis wrote in the Talmud, everything is in the hands of heaven except the fear of heaven. Judaism teaches that God may control the world, but your moral choices are yours. The Maimonides in the 12th century said if people were forced, the whole law would be meaningless. So our choices and our free will is what gives life meaning. The Gersonides later argued that God's foreknowledge doesn't fix our decisions. And Rabbi Jonathan Sacks summed it up, Judaism is God's call to human freedom. So in short, God knows, but we still choose. What does Hinduism say about divine will? Let's look at the Bhagavad Gita. Reflect on this fully, then act as you wish. And the forces of nature perform all actions. The deluded think, I am the doer. The Gita shows that both freedom and destiny, our past actions or karma, shape circumstances, but we still choose how to respond to those circumstances. In Advaita Vedanta, our deepest self doesn't act at all. Free will belongs only to illusion or Maya. In Visista Dvaita, we truly act, but our power comes from God. Grace completes our freedom. In Dvaita, each soul is unique and truly free to choose devotion or selfishness. Hinduism sees freedom as using our will to wisely within divine order. So freedom or free will is doing the right thing. The best freedom is self-discipline and selflessness. To think that our free will is being used to be attached to something material, that would be the illusion Maya. So free will in Hinduism is the ability to do the right thing and be selfless and discipline yourself. How does Buddhism answer the question of if we have free will? The Buddha said, intention, I tell you, is karma. Buddhism doesn't talk about a soul with free will. It teaches that every action is caused by conditions, but our intention changes those conditions. In Theravada Buddhism, freedom grows as we weaken craving and ignorance. The Bhikkhu Bodhi writes, we are not puppets. Present by volition can change the course of karma. In Mahayana Buddhism, thinkers like Nagarjuna said all things arise together, realizing that independence lets compassion guide choice. So freedom means freedom from selfish impulses, not freedom to do anything. What does Jainism say about free will? The soul is the author of its own actions. Jains believe every act and word attaches karma. Or fine matter. Think of karma as a physical substance that attaches to you, in this sense, and attaches to the soul. No God controls this. You purify yourself by right faith, knowledge, and conduct. The teacher Kunda Kunda said, no one purifies another, each purifies himself. So we're responsible for what we do. For Jains, free will is total, but so is responsibility. How does Sikhism answer the question if we have free will? Well, Guru Nanak taught, by his command, forms are created, all are subject to his will, in the Japji Sahib, Pauri 2. Yet he also said, through his grace, the door of liberation is found. Sikhs call God's divine order hukam. True freedom means understanding and living in harmony with it. Scholar Arvind Pal Singh Mandir writes, the Sikh self is free precisely in surrender to divine will. Freedom is not found in control, but letting go of ego, letting go when things don't go your way. It's accepting hukam or the divine plan. Once you surrender to it, then you're free. How does Daoism or Taoism answer the question, do we have free will? Well, the sage acts without acting. Dao De Jing. Daoism doesn't argue about fate, it teaches Wu Wei, effortless action. Freedom means flowing with the natural way, the Tao, instead of forcing life. Philosopher Zhuangzi called this free and easy wandering, when our actions feel as natural as breathing. In Taoism, you're freest when you stop fighting the flow of life. You go with the flow. How does Confucius philosophy answer the question if you have free will? Well, Mencius said the tendency of human nature to do good is water flowing downward. He believed we are born good and can choose to grow these moral sprouts. Another teacher, Zhongzhi, disagreed. People are selfish by nature, but freedom means learning discipline and ritual to become good. Later, Wang Yangming taught that knowing and doing right are one. If you truly know goodness, you'll act on it. Confucians see freedom not as rebellion, but as self-cultivation, the freedom to become fully human. How does Shintoism answer the question if we have free will? Well, Shintoism doesn't have a singular book that we can pull from, especially on free will. It teaches Makoto no Kokoro, a true and sincere heart. Scholar Moturi Noringnaga wrote, the heart that is pure and sincere is the way of the gods. Living in harmony with the kami, the spirits of nature, is the truest freedom. So much like some other religions we talked about, It's about going with the flow and going along with nature as opposed to going against it. How does Zoroastrianism answer the question if we have free will? Hear with your ears the best things. Then each man for himself choose between the two paths in the Avestas. Zoroastrianism, one of the world's oldest religions, teaches a cosmic battle between Asha, truth and order, and Druj, the lie and chaos. Scholar Mary Boyce notes, free choice stands at the very heart of Zoroaster's message. Every good deed strengthens Asha, or truth and order, and fights against Druj, the lie and chaos. Freedom is the sacred power to side with truth. So we have free will in Zoroastrianism, and it's our responsibility to use it against evil in the cosmic battle for Asha to beat Druj. How does the Baha'i faith answer the question if we have free will? Abdul Baha wrote, God's knowledge does not compel the human will. In the book, some answered questions. Baha'is believe God already knows every outcome, but his knowledge doesn't force our actions or our choices. Scholar Peter Smith explains, divine foreknowledge and human freedom are perfectly compatible in the Baha'i faith. Real freedom is choosing love, justice, and service within God's design. So we have free will if we look at Baha'i sources. But God knows all of the outcomes of our choices. From the Torah to the Quran, and from the Gita to the Guru Granth Sahib, the message repeats, our choices matter. Whether we have free will or not is not important, but instead what we do with our actions. Even if everything we have is predictated or predestined, it is still our choice to do the right thing. And that is the thing we should all try to do, the right thing. Live a moral life. Augustine said, love God and do what you will. The Buddha said, the mind precedes all things. Guru Nanak sang, by his will all beings move. And the Quran reminds us each soul is accountable for what it earns. So once again, the question isn't whether we have free will, but how we'll use it. Thank you so much for listening to these brief glimpses of what different religions say about if we have free will. But I hope we can discuss this further in depth and looking deeper into each religion, in each sect, and sometimes even with scholars say what in regarding to life's biggest questions regarding religion. And thank you for joining me, Joy, in this adventure. Have a nice day. You are free to choose, but not free from the consequences of your choice.